Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to another day of Not Perfect Zen. Inktober is finished, and on the last video that I did, I talked about an app called the Art Raffle app, excuse me, by N.E. Oken. And I showed a page from my sketchbook. This is a new sketchbook inspired by the lessons and conversation with my friend and mentor, Annie Taylor, who is a CZT in the UK. And when I started doing the Art Raffle app again, this is the first Art Raffle that I did. And it was a guided one. And if you watch the video, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I selected a guided raffle, and it came up with this pattern. I do have it spelled wrong. It is Nehphi. Okay. So it's Nehphi, and it's by Neha Agrawal. She's a CZT. In the Art Raffle app, it gave me a string to use, but I decided to not use it. And I watched a video by Melinda Barlow about this pattern, and she did it really big. And I thought, well, why not use Nehphi as my string? And then the other patterns that the app picked were Meer, Flux, Says, and a surface texture as an enhancer. So that's what this is. And so I'm going to teach you today how to do the pattern Nehphi. I did find a couple of different ways that it was done. And I played around with that a little bit, but I'm just going to show you how to do the actual pattern of Nehphi, but I'm going to do it big. This is a 4x4.5-inch tile that I use because I put them into my disc bound system like this, and there is a link in the description in case you're interested in how I do that. And before I forget, I want to show you my other sketchbook that I just got. And I did that pattern Nehphi in blue on this gray toned paper. So now I have a white sketchbook, a gray sketchbook, and a tan sketchbook. All right. So I am going to go back to the basics, and I am going to start with my 4 corner dots. And the reason I want to start doing this is because it is part of the 8 steps. First is appreciation. The first step is gratitude and appreciation. And I'm very grateful that I know about Zentangle. I'm grateful for my supplies. I'm grateful to have my YouTube channel and so many awesome people who leave fantastic comments. You guys make me feel so good. And the nice thing about starting with the 4 corner dots is that it gets you relaxed because it gives you the elegance of limits, okay, which means we just have a small canvas to work with. The more that I've been using this Art Raffle app, the more I appreciate the basics of Zentangle, and I enjoy just doing black and white and very simple patterns. So that's what my focus is. I'm going to try to get this light a little better. Okay, so with this pattern, as you can see here, each one of these has kind of a leaf shape. And so in the step outs, that's what she does to start with. And I'm going to do it big, so I'm going to start in this corner. And we're just going to make kind of a fat leaf shape. You can make yours thinner, do it however you want, but that's how we're going to start. By the way, I'm using a Micron 01, a graphite pencil, a blending stump, and I always have a kneaded eraser nearby. And once you have this down, we're going to start with several S shapes. Okay. So down the center, just kind of do kind of a wave there and come back down at about the center. And then I'm going to come up here to that line again. And I'm basically going to follow that same kind of S shape down to the bottom. I'm going to do it again here. And one more here. All right. So simple S shapes. And then we're going to come to this side and we're just going to put some C shapes. And I'm trying to make them about the same distance apart, but it's not super important. And then this one, I'm just going to come up from the bottom. All right, so once we have those in there, we're going to go back up to the top and let's just see again what this is going to look like. So we're going to go from the top and bring a line down at that other line for each of these. So I'm going to come down here, start at this tip, bring it down. Okay, and for this one, I'm just going to bring it around to meet at the bottom there. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to start at the top, bring it down. To me, it almost looks like a pine cone. All right, once we have that, now we're going to go from these tips and come back and stop. And then we're going to fill it in. So this makes it look like it's going behind. And just take your time. Remember to breathe and relax. As I'm recording this, today is one of the first days of the Zen again. And I think they're in Newport, Rhode Island. Wish I could have gone. That would have been a lot of fun. It's only for CZTs. And it was actually online also, but I just honestly couldn't afford it. Okay, I'm just going to bring a little bit across there so that I have a little bit of a corner down there. All right, we're going to do the same thing here. Bring these over, fill them in. If you ever start feeling like your pen isn't working right, I kind of flip mine a little bit, and I've seen other ladies doing that too, and sometimes seems to help to just turn it to another edge. And I think I do it a lot now without even thinking about it. I bought a new set of these size 01 pens, but I'm trying to use these up as much as I can. In one of my recent videos that I was watching of Annie Oaken, she saves her pens that are starting to get to where they're not working real well, and she uses them for doing hatching like this. So this pen may become a tool for that pretty soon. Okay, so there you have it. That is Nehphi by Neha Agrawal, CZT. And to shade it, I'm just going to come down like this, because it makes it look like these are going under that petal. And as you're putting your graphite down, try not to leave a space between the line that you're touching and the actual graphite. So in other words, let's go here. If I were putting it down, I don't want to have a space there. Okay, take that off. So I do have kind of a little bit of a white line there. So just a tip for when you're shading. Try to make sure you put your graphite pencil right on that line. You can even start on the line. Okay. And I'm doing the same thing on each one of these. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing here. And then there. Okay, now I'm going to take my blending stump and just soften the edge on each one of these. Getting very close to being winter in a lot of places. I am in Southeast Texas, and I believe it is still in the 80s today, which makes me very happy because I do not like being cold. All right, and I think I've got probably too much graphite on here. So with this kneaded eraser, kneaded means kneading like with bread. I'm just going to take a little bit of that back up. I think I got over anxious with my amount of graphite. And I don't need that outside line. So taking that off and then going to soften this again. Okay, so that is Nehphi. And what I did on this one, like I said, was that I used it as a string, if you do it this big, and then I put Meer and Flux. This is says, and then I just did Flux again, and then a little bit of something similar to Meer on this side. So I wanted to show you what it looks like first without having anything in it. And you could put whatever you want inside of these. I'll go ahead and show you how I did Meer. And it is just a wavy line down each one of these. Meer is a Zentangle pattern. It's one of their original patterns. Wow, this one's pretty big. Let's just go ahead and do it. Okay. And I think with this one, like what I did on the first one, was rather than divide it with Meer, I just added some lines there. Okay. And with Meer, you just have your lines that come off at an angle, point kind of down, and then you go to the other side and do the same thing, pointing down toward the other corner. All right, so let's do it again on this one. Sometimes I start up a little bit higher just to get my angle right. And then I start bringing my other lines. I'm not worried about keeping them perfect. You know, one of the things that I have found, well, I knew this already, but working with the Art Raffle app, I've done several tiles. If you watched the video, I gave some examples of what I had done. I just really enjoy working with one color, I guess is the best way to put it. I love looking at the Zentangle inspired art that so many talented people share. But honestly, I get too stressed trying to do that. So that's just how I am. And it's okay to still be in love with the classic Zentangle tiles. That's still my favorite thing to do. And I appreciate Sandy Kelly Jones, who is a good friend and a mentor. She shares so many classic tiles, and her Facebook page is called Today's Tangles, Keeping It Classic. And those tiles are only done in black ink on a white 3.5-inch tile. And it's just good to keep it classic. Okay, so that one got a little bit wonky there, but it's okay. I'm going to add another line in the middle there. I probably should have divided that one in half, but no mistakes. The nicest thing that I have found about doing the Art Raffle app, number one, is letting the app pick the patterns for me. That's just awesome. But just not having to worry about, well, what am I going to do? I still sometimes look at a pattern that it chooses and I say, no, I don't want to do that pattern, and that's okay. All right, so the next thing I did on this one was just Flux. So and this is something that Julie Willand taught in one of the project packs. And I really loved it, and I've used it several times. And then just put a little board in that space. And then you can come back and fill in these spaces. Okay, so we start at the top of the last flux that we put and make our new flux. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in, then I'll come back and do the other parts. So just turn your tile to make it easy on yourself. Just take deep breaths, relax, don't worry about the outcome. And like I said, you could put any pattern in here. This just happens to be what the art raffle picked for me, and I decided I was going to make it work. And you're not trying to be better than anybody else. You're just trying to enjoy the quiet time of drawing. And if you want to be better than somebody, then be better than yourself. You're the only person that you should compare yourself to. And I tell you, I look back on some of my original tiles, and I don't want to criticize myself because I was doing the best that I could at the time. But I can compare myself to how I'm doing now, and I'm doing a whole lot better. So that's what you're looking for. But still, no matter what, it's not a contest. You're not being graded. Just enjoy one line at a time. Okay. Now, this one looks kind of odd, so I'm just going to curve it a little bit more, make it look a little bit better. All right. And then in this one is says, and it's really just the way that Rick taught it was he dropped rice on a page, and wherever that rice fell, he put a little dot. Okay, so I'm just putting random dots. And then from that dot, you're just going to make concentric circles around it, wherever it fell. And if you do this on a larger area, then it's a little bit different as far as the way that you connect all these together. But don't worry about that. For this one, we're just going to put little circles around. And go to your next one. And if it's getting too close, then you're going to pretend that you're drawing behind. I'm not worried that my circles aren't perfect. Okay. When I first started Zentangle, I found a website where it told you to practice drawing circles, and it was like hundreds of circles. And I didn't want to do it. So I didn't. So don't worry about things looking perfect. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and bring this one out a little bit more. And then what I did on this one, you can see like right in here where they didn't meet. And that's kind of how the actual pattern goes. You just put some little auras in between. I'm going to go ahead and put another dot here and another couple of orbs. And then I'm not going to worry about the rest of this. Just fill it in the way you want. Okay, this one, I'm going to put Flux again. Start at the bottom with one big one. And then from the top, I go over. From this top, I go over. And I'm turning my tile to make it easier. Okay, put your little orbs. and fill those in. And I do realize it makes this look a little different here, but it's okay. We're not trying to create anything representational, like we're not trying to draw a perfect tree or anything like that. We're just drawing patterns. And another nice thing about starting to use that app again is that I have learned some new patterns. I have been reminded of some old patterns like this one, the says. And there are some patterns where I just don't want to do them. And that's okay. Don't do them. This one I am going to do says again. Not says, Meer. Same as this one. I do appreciate all of the wonderful comments that I got from Inktober. Doing 31 patterns in a month is a challenge for me. I have high regard for these ladies who do a video every day. I'm amazed. But the way I do it is when I find something that I really enjoy, then I share it. Oop, and try not to put stress on myself. Okay, so just quickly for this, I'm going to put a little bit of graphite down the center of each of these Meer. And I'm right on the line. And then I'm just going to push it a little bit in the direction of the lines. So if the lines are going up and down like this, then that's how I have my blending stump. Same thing here. I'm just kind of following that line. Okay, so again here, just to soften it a little bit. I do very simple shading. I don't worry about it much. I do have a book called Made in the Shade. And it is by Zentangle CZT, and I can't think of her name now, but a very good book because she focuses on Zentangle patterns and mostly on shading. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of graphite at the bottom of each of these Flux. And I'm doing this a little bit fast. And I'll probably go back and fill this in just a little bit more on some of these spots. And then along here, just to make sure I still have a little bit of shading. And on this Meer. Okay, so at the bottom of each of these, I'm just going to push that up towards the top of the flux. Okay. I am going to add my chop. L for Langston. B for Barbara. B for Buford. And the 3 dots for those initials. Turn it over to the back, like you would a Zentangle card. Sign it. Date it. Today is 11/07/22. And the patterns I used were Nehphi, Flux, Meer, and says. Okay. Remember to hold your tile at arm's length and appreciate what you've done. And sometimes I fail to do that. But enjoy your art, appreciate Zentangle for what it brings us, and I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please hit the like button. I don't charge for my videos, but I have signed up for being able to get a little bit from YouTube, which helps for my expenses. And all it takes is subscribe and like and leave comments and share. And that helps me out a lot. So thanks again for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this. And I'll see you again soon. Thank you. Bye.